beautiful Cancerian friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2024, where Cancer this year, we are taking it up a notch on this channel to help you be absolutely prepared for 2024. So not only are you going to get the outer planet overview from me, because I want you to see the long-term themes that are going to impact you, Cancer, because it's really what we've got a lot of development packed into, but I have also paired with 4 other astrologers to break down your finance, your relationships, your medicine, and your spiritual development, and to take you quarter by quarter of what is going on for you. So I'm telling you, Cancer, grab pen, grab paper, put this on in the background, take it in as much as you can or as little as you can at a time. But there is a full, really laid out horoscope for you in this particular video. So I want you to enjoy. Now, I also want your resource toolkit to be stuffed and ready to use. So make sure you click in the description box down below and get your digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Skies Collective. It brings those transits right to your phone so that you can understand, hey, this is void. Of course, you are ruled by the moon, Cancer. When is it time to shut down and relax and breathe for a minute? You have more space in the year if you know, and you can work with your energy. So make sure you click down there and check it out. And also remember, you can get in contact with myself or any one of our astrologers, all in the description box down below as well. Okay, beautiful Cancers, let's get in here and see what these outer planets are doing for you in the dance of life, starting with Pluto. First of all, we've got Pluto going to make this move into the energy of Aquarius. And we saw some of this dynamic show up in March of 2023. So start to calibrate your mind to what was going on in March of 2023, especially around joint relations, joint connections, sex, intimacy, inheritance, estate, death, money with a partner, collaborations with people, healing, relieving yourself of debt, getting into debt. Some people were getting into debt. What started to happen for you? Because Pluto started to show you what it was going to break down in order to rise you up. But before it goes on ahead and does this long jaunt and stay for 20 years in the vibration of Aquarius, it's going to still dance a bit in Capricorn. And this lights up your 7th house space. So Cancer, likely over the 2023 time frame, you did something where you stepped up. You took on a relationship in some way. Maybe a relationship had to die down and die off so that you could be reborn and be re-empowered in that relationship. Or in the dynamics of it, you changed employment. I think that this could be a huge change in your employment as well, Cancer, because that vibration is Capricorn. So whatever it is, there's this sense for you as we're traveling in this first bit, and really I would think until the fall of 2024, where you are in a position of some kind of mastery. You are in a position of some kind, you're more empowered, and this energy will carry for you. And as we see Pluto, especially 2025, staying in Aquarius, will work a lot more on that 8th house, but just flash back to March of 2023 and see what started to change, and you'll get a bit of cue as to where things are going. Now, as we're also coming into the year until May, we're going to see Jupiter and Uranus in the vibration of Taurus, which sits in a really nice connection with your energy. It's cozy, it's comfortable. You guys know how to work together. Taurus and Cancer always love to have some snacks, some sex and some snacks. You know, like that's really what you guys got going, because it's so nurturing. It's so good. Okay, but we're going to see Uranus. We're going to see Jupiter only stay in Taurus until May of 2024, okay? So while it's traveling here, though, in this vibration of Taurus, it's been lighting up your 11th house space. Friends, social groupings, long-range goals, designs that you have for yourself, your tribe, Cancer. You've had an expansion that's been happening here. New teachers, maybe elders have come into your life or your space, and they're teaching you something about your tribe, your new tribe, right? Things have been changing in your social group, or maybe you've expanded and widened your social group, okay? But as we get to May, we're going to see Jupiter move into the vibration of Gemini, and this will now light up your 12th house space. So things going on behind the scenes. So Cancer, this year, it is a great year to understand that at a spiritual level, your spirituality may change this year. You may be expanded into a belief system or a way of believing, but actually learning a practice in your life that changes the way that you live your spiritual content in your world. I also think that Jupiter in the 12th house, if you've had anything that has been behind the scenes, but you didn't know it was there, you know, let's say that you have had something going on in your immune system or something like that, something that has been behind the scenes may also present itself, but you're also presented a teacher and a system on how to handle that thing. More than anything, though, with Jupiter here in this 12th house, the expansion of your 12th house, your genuine spirituality, your rest, your rejuvenation, your ability to understand what it means to have clarity and serenity of mind, not have your mind going 100 miles an hour, is really where Jupiter is lining up. Now, it's said that when Jupiter's traveling through your 12th house, all of the learning that you need to do is absolutely surrounded and protected by guardian angels. And I love that vision. So whatever you got to go through, you've got absolutely a spiritual support team and probably a physical support team as well. We're going to see these nodes and these eclipses travel through Aries and Libra. So we're going to continue some of these lessons that we've been experiencing. Now that North Node in Aries, Cancer, is pulling you forward, saying, come this direction. It's your destiny to move this way, right? To take on this role, to lead Aries in this way. Now, Aries is also a cardinal energy, just like you are. So you've been making a start. And this is in your 10th house of career. This is your career, your soul level calling, the title that we call you in public. This has also been a big deal. So you've been moving towards it. But what the North Node in Aries asks you, Cancer, is what are you willing to fight for? Where are you willing to fight for changes within yourself that are the me, the adjustments in the me, so that you can have integration with the South Node in Libra that creates the we? Because the we, South Node in Libra, is down in your 4th house space. So there are some things in the 4th house, home, family, real estate, property, your roots, old connections, your internal psychological foundations that have been falling out. They need to move away because the way you've been relating to them is done. But there are some things at home too that it's like we need the we, and the way that you've been engaging them needs to change. That's what needs to fall away. So you may be challenged with that North Node in Aries to say what in you needs to be adjusted in the me so that you can create the integration of me and we, where you get what you need, but you're also being able to take care of whatever's happening in the domestic zone, okay? Speaking of Aries and Libra, at the end of the year, we're going to see Mars go retrograde in Leo. So this is another fire energy that we're dealing with here, okay? But when Mars goes retrograde, Cancer, we feel it. We feel it because it's close. It's close to us. Mercury goes retrograde all the time, so you notice it, right? But when Mars and Venus go retrograde, we're like, is that you? You know, it's like that. So when Mars goes retrograde here in this Leo vibration, first of all, the thing that you want to know and you want to understand is that come back from June to October of 2023. Venus was retrograde in this Leo vibration, so it set the table. You have a reevaluation. You revalue something in your 2nd house, your worth, your finances, how you value the work that you do and how you're paid for it as well, your money and what's going on with it. So Venus already set the stage. Venus set the table. And Mars is here to eat, okay? So when Mars goes through its retrograde, it's going to ask you the strategies that you're using around your money. What's happening with your money? What are you doing with your money? How are you expressing it? Now, Leo, in its very nature, even though this is your 2nd house, Leo is a creative, joyful, playful kind of energy. So it could also be that you are making investments, or you need to be setting up investments for the future of your children or children in your space as well. So we'll talk more about that as the year goes on, okay? We're going to see that we have Saturn and Neptune still continuing through this vibration of Pisces, a fellow water energy. So again, you sit in easy aspect to this. Now, this has been lighting up your 9th house space. And Neptune here, Cancer, having recently come out of retrograde, has really let you see some things around 9th house concepts: publishing, marketing, broadcasting, training, international travel, contracts, immigration, but faith. Faith is the big one, Cancer, right? And you had some ideas about what faith, higher power, God, whatever the word is for you, what it was. And I think that the Neptune retrograde of 2023 let you see that is not going to hold up in your life. Maybe you can't stand on that philosophy or belief anymore. It is time to get some new ideas and ideals. But where Saturn is here in Pisces, lighting this up for you in the ninth house, it's saying we need to stop talking about it and be about it. Put some structure to that faith. Put some structure to that training. Put some structure to teaching. Put some structure to that travel. Let's do something. Let's raise the mastery. Saturn is not going to let you out without maturing. You need to demonstrate some level of mastery of this area. And where it's beautiful is that where you have the mastery and every little bit of mastery that you acquire, Saturn delivers the gift of discipline brings freedom. That's what I want you to remember all year long, because that will really, really, really help you with this particular transit, okay? All right, my beautiful Cancerian friends, I hope you have an absolutely gorgeous year. And again, I want you to really make the astrology work for you this year. So make sure that you have your full natal chart and come and click in the description box down below and get one from me. Go to astro.com, get one for free. Do what you need to do to have your own personal chart in addition to these general readings that you're getting. But also go over to stormygrace.com. I have created an entire resource that is continuing to unfold so that when I say this is happening in your second house of the general, you can look at your own chart and say, that's actually happening here for me. And what does that mean? I've created the resource for you to get the information. All right, Cancer, I love you so much, and I can't wait to travel the year with you. Remember, I'm here with you monthly. I'm here with you weekly. And if you are following me on Instagram, I am also there with you daily, bringing you the cosmos. Now I leave you in the beautiful, capable hands of Wade Caves, who's going to talk to you about your financial timing for 2024.
There is, I think, for Cancer, a little bit more negotiating room for 2024 transits than we see with the other signs. There's a lot of activity happening in the mutables. There's a lot of activity happening in Aries and Libra. So amongst the cardinal signs, this is one of the safer signs. So if you've got a sun in Cancer, ascendant in Cancer, either of those, this year is going to allow for, I think, a bit more flexibility. There are some very clear positive times, like when Mars is moving into Pisces, that will be in trine to your natal sun or ascendant, whichever is in Cancer. And then in April, we have Mars in Pisces and sextile to Jupiter in Taurus. Great for advancing new ideas, expanding portfolios, making financial modifications to your strategies. There are also, a few periods you'll want to watch out for. So Mars ingressing into the cardinal signs is going to be tough if you are a Cancer sun, Cancer rising. Mars in Capricorn at the beginning of the year will be in opposition to your natal sun in Cancer, ascendant in Cancer. And at the end of April, Mars enters into Aries, and that will continue until about mid-June. So that period, you just want to watch to make sure that Mars is not in a very tight square to your ascendant degree or your solar degree, whichever is in Cancer. And then in September, Mars enters Cancer. And when Mars enters Cancer, it tends to stir up, emotional buying or financial decisions that are perhaps would benefit from some, slowing down, really reviewing the plan, understanding how this folds into a broader financial strategy.
Cancer. 2024 is definitely a year dealing with relationships and associations. How do I know that it's a year steeped in relationships and associations? Because you're spending a lot of time talking to people about their money. All right. Now, I don't know if you happen to work in a profession where you do talk to people about their money. Maybe you're a real estate broker or you deal with finances or something along those lines. And so that might make this year not too different from what is the usual status quo. But from what I am seeing with the alignment of the planets, you're talking to people a lot about their money and a lot about their keeping their words and keeping their promises. So let me sort of give you a little background on this. First of all, you have the North Node traveling through the zodiac sign of Aries. And the North Node in Aries for you is very much a position that deals with status. And it's also dealing with career as well. Being a Cancer, home and family is very important to you. Career is important to you, but career is in service to home and family. Here, with the North Node traveling through Aries, you're always going to feel like you're being drawn back to career, no matter how much you're trying to get out of it. So in other words, let's say you're trying to take on a part-time position. Let's say you're trying to like cut back on your hours at work. Let's say you're even trying to transition out of what it is you do, or maybe you're even selling your business to someone else. The stars are such in 2024 that they're not going to let you go so easily. Actually, I'm wondering if they're going to let you go at all. In other words, there's something that always drags you back into business that you really thought that you had seen the end of. You know, you really thought that you had tied up the loose ends. You really thought that you had set everything up, you know, to set up this lifestyle, and you are being drawn back into your previous commitments and your previous obligations. With Pluto's shift into Aquarius, one of the changes that you're going to notice in your life as a Cancer is the sudden infusion of people in your life. Suddenly there's a bunch of people in your life, which is why it told me that, okay, you're going to be dealing with relationships, but you're also dealing with people and their personal issues. So it could be people and their personal emotional issues, or it could be people and their personal psychological issues. But those happen, and that might take on a sort of intensity this year. But more than that, I'm really seeing you dealing with people and their financial issues, because there seems to be a lot of anxiety or nervousness in the financial quarter that I see for you this year. Now, if I were just looking at you and your finances this year, I would be like, Cancer, you're good. All right. You got things together. You figured out a game plan, and you're going to be fine. It's your finances when they include other people. So these could be people who are dependent on you. These could be people that you're in a relationship with. You know, this could be a roommate. This could be anyone that you're joined to financially. It could be loans that you give out to friends, or loans that friends have given out to you. But what's happening here is that there is some trouble that people are having with keeping their part of the bargain, with keeping their end of the deal. And being born under a parental sign, Cancer is a parental sign. Part of that is because you're ruled by the moon, which is next to Leo, which rules the sun, which often will represent the father. So the moon is the mother. You also get a parental feeling because you are the partner sign to Capricorn, and Cancer and Capricorn do tend to take on parental roles at the age of 3. Okay, but anyway, so there is this feeling
they
of
tend to
being
take on parental roles at
to
the
people.
age of 3.
No, that might be because you have children, or that might be because you've got siblings who are 15 years older than you, and you're taking care of them like they're children, or maybe you're in charge of your parents in some way. But there's definitely a parental feeling to you, and there's this sense that you're trying to move, you know, whether it's your company or a group of friends or family, you're trying to sort of get everyone over the hump, or get them to a place where everyone can be financially solid or secure, and it's not happening. It's not happening not because you're like hitting obstacles or anything like that. It's not happening because the idea of trying to do this with the people in your life kind of feels like you're herding cats. There's always a new crisis, there's a new problem, someone sees a bright shiny object and they go running after it. And so you're doing your level best with trying to be both the head of your household and also trying to help people with what they contribute to this household. What I don't want to see you do is to take everything on your shoulders. Okay, this is almost like a typical Cancerian reaction to things like this. I'll take it on my shoulders and I'll figure out how to do it as long as everyone else is okay. Cancer is very loving and very nurturing in that way towards other people, not always loving and nurturing towards itself. Okay, and this idea of you having to shoulder the burden Well, Cancers, you've had Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, 2009. I don't have to tell you about what it's like to shoulder burdens, specifically burdens that you didn't really ask for. So what's happening, it's very subtle, but it's there with Pluto moving into Aquarius and then Jupiter moving into an air sign, Gemini. What's happening there is that it's kind of forcing you to talk about sharing the burden. And actually, it's more than sharing the burden. It's kind of prompting you to get other people to give according to their means. And this is what's going to allow you to enjoy some sort of emotional satisfaction and fulfillment this year. If you're always worried about finances and people not really keeping up with their end of it, and then you're not saying anything, that's going to turn inward, and that's going to make it very difficult for you to sleep at night and very difficult for you to digest your meals in a nice, peaceable way. With cancer, anxieties always go to the tummy. Okay, so what you're going to need to sort of practice this year is not reprimanding people about them not keeping up with their bills and things like that, but you sort of sitting down, but you kind of being proactive and sitting down with people and mapping out what they can do financially to contribute to the household, or what they can do financially to help themselves out. You know, if you're talking to a friend, this might be a lecture that you've given a bazillion times in the past about, shaming them into being better with their money. But this is the year when you sit down and you sort of put on your financial advisor hat. Helping people to help themselves financially is a big theme this year. And part of you may wonder, okay, but what's that say about me emotionally? Finances and emotions are very much tied to one another. On one hand, it can be like, let's have fun and spend money. Okay, like that can be like, an emotional spending for exhilaration. Or it can be like, let's manage our money, And the way that one manages their money, are they profligate? Are they skinflints? Are they cheap? A lot of ways that someone manages their money will show you what they're like emotionally and what they're like psychologically. All right. So that's why money and emotions do go together. It's more than just feeling like there's enough money in the bank that you can sleep at night. Those earlier tensions that you're going to feel, and I think it's going to be with a partner, and it's going to be around the eclipse in March, the lunar eclipse on March 25th, and the solar eclipse on April 8th. This might be when you realize that a lover or a spouse or even a business partner is having trouble keeping up their end of matters. This is something that's going to come to a head with the last Mars-Pluto opposition on November 3rd. And hopefully that will take care of it. But if it doesn't take care of it, then I'm afraid that Mars turning retrograde in Leo and being on December 6th, and it will be retrograde in Leo until February 24th, this may be a period of time in which there is a fraught emotional tension about this, in which you're trying to figure out how can you help the partner figure this out or talk to the partner about this. Sometimes we have to have a number of fights before we can have a conversation. And that might be what's going on during this period of time. So don't give up hope. Don't say, I have to take this burden on my shoulder. Just be committed to a future in which you want everyone to sort of give according to their means, and that you're the person who's sort of in charge of managing that and not doing it for anyone. And the more that you can have this feeling that you're sharing the burden, and that more than just you is contributing financially to your home or life or lifestyle, the better you're going to feel, and the more loving and in a different way that you're going to feel towards friends and loved ones in your life in 2024.
Hey everybody, and welcome to your 2024 medical astrology forecast for Cancer rising. And for this year, what I want everyone to focus on is Jupiter in Gemini. And Jupiter doesn't go into Gemini until May 26th, and it's going to stay in Gemini throughout the whole year. And the reason why we're focusing on Jupiter in Gemini is because Jupiter rules the 6th house, having to do with potential acute illnesses, And also, we also use it as a co-ruler of the digestive tract, the sixth house is. And so when the sixth house, when the ruler of the sixth house is in the 12th house, something having to do with our mental perturbations, and that is the fluctuation of our mind, can oftentimes lead to potential digestive issues. So we want to be really mindful of that, especially with Cancer rising, as the stomach and the intake of nourishment is a really important thing for the sign of Cancer overall. Also, something you want to be really mindful of is the eclipse that's happening in October in Libra, because when that eclipse happens, it's going to be squaring Mars in Cancer. So Mars being in the first house in Cancer oftentimes can lead to issues having to do with the digestive tract. And again, of course, with medical astrology, this is not going to manifest for everyone. But if you tend to already have this issue, and sometimes with Cancer rising, they have sensitive stomachs already, you just want to be really mindful of it. And so a practice to do in order to really care for and nourish your digestive tract for this year is being mindful of how many bitter foods you're eating. So just the flavor of bitter in and of itself. So thinking like dandelion greens or drinking dandelion root tea, things like this can be super, super helpful throughout the year. I'm picking dandelion because dandelion oftentimes corresponds to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is your sixth house ruler. And again, Jupiter is going to be in Gemini, which is the sixth house ruler. And Jupiter has to do with the assimilation of fats and oils in the body. So we just want to make sure we take care of our digestive tract for this year for Cancer rising. And so that's the 2024 medical astrology forecast. And I hope you have a beautiful and blessed year. Peace.
Hey Cancers, I'm Tiffany Harlick, and welcome to your 2024 spiritual astrology forecast. So if you have a Cancer sun, moon, or rising, or you're watching for a Cancer you love, you're in the right place. And my promise to you is to deliver clear, concise, and accurate information as best as I can to the best of my ability. Your promise to me is to always follow your free will, always follow your heart, to love yourself, and to never use astrology against yourself. Cancer, for you, your spiritual opportunity in 2024 is to find your spiritual home. Okay, this is going to mean different things to different people because we come from different walks of life. But I want you to find the support that your soul is craving. I want you to connect with your chosen family. I want you to find some devotional space. You might see that you're having to answer a new calling, that you might be changing jobs or roles. And I want you to find comfort in community. And don't stop before the miracle happens. Your mantras are, I'm at home in my body, I sink into my bones and enjoy full vitality. I'm thankful for my roots and ancestors, for they paved the way for my precious human life. My home and work bring deep fulfillment, peace, and joy. And you can modify those, right? Your ruling planet is the moon. So the moon is a primal motivating factor in helping you decide what you want to do with your energy this year. And so how do you rise to the occasion of your inner moon? It's really considering what emotions, right? The moon ruling our emotions, what emotions you're going to stop using against yourself and others. Understanding how to work with your emotions instead of letting them rule whatever's going on in your life. Okay, so that's that. We're going to talk about your spiritual home in 4 different quarters. The first one is your lineage, your ancestors, your roots and refuge. The second one is having to do with intuitive jobs, understanding your psychic side, understanding that or answering a different calling. And the third quarter, we're going to talk about some financial stewardship. And the fourth, we're going to talk about hearth and health. Oops. So this first quarter, we're talking about your lineage, where you come from, your family, and your chosen family. And here, because we're working with the moon, we have started to just look at where the new moons are for the Cancer forecast. And so, yeah, there's going to be some other things here throughout the year, but you're going to see that these new moons are your anchors that help determine the vibe of the quarter. So in January, we have a 9-month in the numerology, which is all about integration and assimilation and something coming full circle, finding closure, wrapping things up. The new moon is in Capricorn, right? Capricorn has to do with our healer energy. It's very Stevie Nicks energy, very Earth Mama, crystals, but it's also very business CEO, rising to the top. And so I want you to be aware of your ambitions and be aware of your inner adult. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be more mature. It doesn't have to mean that you have to be more responsible, but it does mean that you need to harness, just like we have an inner child, right? We have an inner parent or an inner adult, and we need to have develop a relationship with that side of ourselves. So that's something for you to explore in January. In February, it's a 1 month, and we tend to have blinders on because we get hyper focused on something. So if you're feeling a sense of urgency to focus, just be careful that it doesn't turn into obsession or analysis paralysis. On February 9th, the new moon is in Aquarius, and this falls in your 8th house of shared resources. This is where you might find that you're in touch with some influential networks, that people out there have the answer, that you don't have to know everything, that the answers aren't going to be hidden from you, that the solutions are there, and that there is a community that is available to you, not only just to help you, but for you to help and serve. And in March, it's a 2-month, which has to do with relationships. This new moon is in Pisces, and it falls in your 9th house of spiritual journeys, of pilgrimages, of understanding the world through a different culture. At Pisces, it will help ignite your intuition. It will help ignite your psychic gifts. It will help you understand that you were born wise and that all of the senses that you have extend out into the spiritual world, and that you were born with psychic gifts. And so this could be a month when you want to set some intentions for developing your emotional intuitive states. On the 25th, the eclipse falls in your 4th house of home and family, your childhood home, the home you live in now, but also your roots. This is why lineage is the title of this quarter for you guys. And so an eclipse in the 4th and 10th house axis is going to ignite both home and family stuff and career stuff, right? And so this is a sacred reunification with your lineage, with your ancestors, with the people that you came from. And there's power when you surrender, when you don't have to know everything, when you don't have to plan everything. This is just to stay curious. Here are a bunch of themes to play with and journal through. I'll let you screen grab that and come back to it. You know, there can be this kind of Hallmark movie moment where something brings you back to your home and family. Now, in terms of the relationship inventory, the first new moon of the year fell in your 7th house of significant others. And so there are several significant people in your life, but if you are partnered, that provides a really clear lens for you to understand yourself and to know yourself. The relationship inventory, this is something that I personally use. I didn't write it, but I do use it when I'm upset, right? And so if I have one finger pointing out, I have 3 pointing back at me, that means I have more work to do of polishing the mirror of my heart. And so the purpose of asking yourself these questions is to understand your motives, the subconscious, to get it out and to really start to behave differently. And so I go through these in order, I share them with a friend, and then I get some insider feedback. Is there anything I'm missing? Or do I have blinders on in this area? And then I sleep on it, pray about it, meditate, get some new insights, and then I let it go. And I try to act my way into right thinking and when we know better, we do better. And if that's not you, if you're not charged up by relationships this quarter, on a more regular basis, you might ask yourself and your significant other, or the one that you're practicing with here, is what went well and where can I improve, right? How was I of service to you, right? Be aware of these things. Your self-development. Here in the first quarter, I'm suggesting that you create a new playlist. This could be something that you use in the morning as your devotional inspiration. I listed a couple of songs that are on my playlist right now. In terms of stewardship, this is considering your family ties and who you're responsible to and what you're responsible for and how those roles might be shifting this year. In an activity, I'm suggesting is to connect with your council elders. This could be your tribe of light. This could be your angels. This could be your favorite aunt. This could be a teacher that you really respect or a mentor. But determine who is your council of wise ones. And I want you to just pour your thoughts and questions onto paper, just to your trusted advisor, and I want you to consider what they would say. So write all your questions with your right hand, and then your dominant hand, and then answer them with your non-dominant hand, and let something occur from the soul level, from the unconscious, and see what occurs. A self-development idea for a book to read this quarter is to Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui by Karen Kingston. And I love this book. It's one that I refer back to all the time. For Q2, I've got the idea of intuitive jobs for you, Cancer. In April, we have a 3 energy, which is very charismatic, more outward, more outgoing, wanting to connect, wanting to get in the mix. The Mercury retrograde cycle goes through your 10th house of your job, your career, your reputation, right? The thing that the world needs from you. And so whether you have a jobby job or it's something that looks different, the idea here is that the world needs something from you. And a study of your midheaven will help you understand that. For example, my midheaven is in Virgo, and so it doesn't matter what I do or what I teach or what I'm talking about, whether it's beads or yoga or psychic work or astrology. The idea is that I'm delivering in a Virgo way. That's my Virgo midheaven. That's my 10th house. So I like to provide bullet point data, right? That's helpful to people. And so what is your 10th house, and what would that help you understand about your role and your job, right? Using your intuition this way. I do see that you might have a career pivot in mind because not only is Mercury retrograde in your 10th house, but the April eclipse is too. And this one is in 19 degrees of Aries. And it's the one that North America will be able to see. Also this month, there's one of the biggest transits of the year is the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and it's happening in your 11th house. And so I want you to think big and think about your network and ask questions and connect with people. Jupiter expands and Uranus does it quickly. Things can happen overnight in a good way. So do you want to set your mind up for success and just believe that good things are happening for you, right? In May, it's a 4-month, and this has to do with being still, steady, confident. This is being the surfer that is still while the waves are crashing all around. In May, the new moon will be in 18 degrees of Taurus in your 11th house of friends. You're going to know something about your worth with the new moon in Taurus. You're going to be focused on values, and you're going to have these conversations with your friends and your alliances and your social clubs. This is like being the treasurer for your beekeeping club, right? There's lots of ways to work with the themes here. I'm just giving some ideas. In June, we have a 5 in the numerology, and the 5 is when we get very distracted. We feel pulled in many different directions. So can we go with the flow? Can we be in non-resistance in June? And can we use our spiritual vision? So we just had this big, huge, interesting thing happen in April, and as that has released, it's the new energy that's coming in is that Jupiter will trine Pluto. And so as you think, so shall you be. As above, so it is below. On June 6th, the new moon is in Gemini in your 12th house, right? The house of the subconscious, the house of the hidden, the house where we can self-sabotage sometimes, the house of troubles that turns into the house of reconciliation, right? And so this is an optimal time to set intentions around your psychic abilities, any classes you want to take, anything you want to learn, anything that you want to transmit, information, marketing, chapters, writing podcasts, things like this. I think it would be a great idea to write your personal mission statement this quarter. You could update your bio. It could be simple, but I've listed some other questions here for you if you'd like to go a little deeper. And then for your self-development, Silva Method is one I'm recommending to all the signs because the Silva Method developed by Jose Silva. He was born here in El Paso, Texas, and he developed a technique for clearing the mind, for elevating the mind, and working from a place of clarity and elevated mind. And so in terms of his technique, the thing I love about it the most is that he says that, it only works if your intention of what you're wanting to manifest also helps so many other people. So there are many free versions, paid versions. Check it out, see if it's for you. In terms of stewardship, we've got to be thinking about your work and what your devotional mood is to your work. It doesn't mean that you have to change jobs or get a job or don't get a job. It just means, what's your mood about it? If you have to do spreadsheets all day, are you like so excited that this is going to be the most beautiful spreadsheet of your entire life? Is this a creative pursuit? Can you just play with the energy of being devoted to something that's higher than yourself? This is where your job stewardship comes into play. Are you answering a calling, or are you fulfilling a duty? Or can these concepts Venn diagram in some way? I have a psychic development activity listed for you. It's called the reverse blink. Basically, you close your eyes and then you open them quickly and close them again. And in that moment that you got a little flash of information, I want you to recall as much as you can. So everything that you just saw, whether it was a potted plant or a car going by, what color was the car? Were there two people in the car? Who were they? What was the license plate? Just get as much information that you can remember. And when you remember in detail, just like when you remember a dream, this is a way to fine-tune your concentration, and it will help you receive non-local information and psychic information, and it will help with your recall. A suggested book for you is The Hidden Messages of Water. I think everybody should read this, but especially people with a Cancer placement. It's by Dr. Emoto, and I got to see him speak here in Austin. One of the things I love about his work is that he shows, how our thoughts, our mind, our heart affect our environment, right? And so how important it is to work with some kind of meditation technique to clear, replenish, come at the world with a full heart. And I also love that everywhere he went, when he did his speaking gigs, that he would go to a body of water and think good thoughts and bless that body of water, knowing that his thought had ripple effect for the whole community. So in Q3, we want to talk about some financial stewardship. So the July numerology changes to a 6. And so the 6 is about nesting. It is that very Cancer energy to come inward and make home a place you run to and not a place you run from. The new moon matches this energy perfectly. The new moon in Cancer in your first house. Maybe you want to do some address numerology or for some feng shui, or just make your home a place you run to and not away from. very home vibe energy. In August, it shifts to a 7, and this is about soul quest. This is about finding meaning and truth in life. And in August, we have the Mercury retrograde cycle going from your 3rd to 2nd house of finances. And this is where we learn the lessons that my net worth is not my self worth, and what are my core values, and what do I really believe, and how am I really treating my money. I had a client once who she was not having luck in the love department, and she said everybody that she dated was putting her last, and she wasn't getting the attention that she needed. And I said, well, how are you treating your money? And it was confusing at first, right? But we explored it, and she said that she doesn't really treat her money anyway, that she doesn't think about it. She doesn't file her own taxes. She crumples the money up. It's at the bottom of her purse. She doesn't have a spreadsheet for income and expenses. And so we changed some of that. And so she started paying attention and being a good steward of her finances. And lo and behold, it changed all of her relationships, right? And so this idea of financial stewardship having to do with not just your net worth, but your self-worth and your value and the pride that you take, right, can be very pivotal and transformational in all of the departments. The new moon is in Leo in your 2nd house of money and worth. And so having a budget boot camp this quarter is probably very helpful for you. On the 19th, Jupiter will square Saturn, and Jupiter is it's this great cosmic magnifying glass. It makes everything bigger, makes everything more grandiose. Jupiter represents our biggest dreams, our wildest passions, like the thing that we want to do and expand and be seen and be known for and encourage more of. Its wealth and abundance. And it squares, it challenges our inner Saturn, and the Saturn side of us is the one that's more responsible, that needs to have a sense of duty, right? And so this idea that we have some tension between those two sides of ourselves is going to be apparent in August and again in December. Now in September, we shift into an 8-month, and the 8 has to do with the infinity symbol. So think about like what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. And the new moon will be in Virgo, so the garden of the soul. This is in your third house of communications and learning and the way that you're thinking about things. So maybe you want to take a master gardener class, or maybe you want to learn beekeeping, or maybe you just want to get some things in order with your health. Virgo also rules our daily routines and rhythms. And so maybe those are changing for you. The eclipse is happening in your 9th house of philosophy and worldview and foreign languages and travel. So here are the themes of the 3rd and 9th house axis with eclipses. I invite you to take a screen grab. This is a sacred reunification with your inner knower, right? With the things that you already know. This is an awareness around your knowledge, your insight, your intellect. Okay. Your self-development, I invite everybody to try the Ho'oponopono prayer again. So again, it goes like this. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, and I love you. It's a prayer that you do internally, and I encourage you to research it because the history behind it is so powerful. Again, your stewardship is to your finances this quarter. It's a really good time to talk with a professional, a tax professional, a business professional, somebody in the finance world, a friend that's really great at it, and sit down and take an honest look at your financial life. And in terms of the activity, because I know that that Cancer side of you is loving what I was saying about nesting and being at home more, especially this quarter, to keep the home fires burning, right? What is this? It means to maintain a daily routine and provide the necessities of life in a home or community. So we're thinking about our home, but we're also thinking about that spiritual home, right? That spiritual home that is part of the bigger theme for your year. So what does it mean to keep the home fires burning to you? What does that look like in your life this month or this quarter or this year? And what home edits are you making that help you feel more like yourself, that it's really a reflection of who you are, right? A book for consideration is listed there below. And as we go into the last quarter of the year, this is about your hearth and your health. All right, so in October, Cancer, we're looking at your ancestry, your lineage, your roots and your refuge. The eclipse happening in Libra, the sign of partnerships, is in your 4th house of home and family, your childhood home, people that you share history with, people that you share emotionally charged events with. The home is also that sacred place where we can rest. In November, the new moon will be in Scorpio in your 5th house of pleasure, of joy, in the sign of deep transformation and change. And also this month, Mercury Mercury will retrograde into your 6th house, right? Your health, your routine, your rhythms are changing. Your health needs are changing. Your diet may need to change. The things that you do to take care of your physical body, your temple, will be top of mind here in November. And in December, Mars joins the retrograde party, going through your 2nd and 1st house. So this idea of 2nd house of money, 1st house of identity of myself, all of it's kind of working together. You can't pull one without pulling the other. The December new moon is in your 6th house. So health, money, identity, all part of the things working in your favor to show you the next state of your evolution and growth. Now, I mentioned that Jupiter Saturn square, where we had the inner tension of growing pains, of wanting to go big, but needing to be responsible, and all of the structures, and where do we get little where do we overcommit? Where do we undercommit? Where do we play small? Where do we think in too big terms? All of that is evening out. And so look back to August and see what themes are coming back up for reconsideration. And because, you know, your health is top of mind this quarter, I want to invite you to make a spiritual healers list. So the list here I have is robust. You can make it as big or as little as you want. When I'm looking at this list, what I'm seeing is, what are the practitioners I want to work with? What are the spaces I want to be in? Who are the counselors who are on my my council of elders? And what kind of home remedies kit do I want to bring in to play, right? So I want you to include contact information, and this should just be an easy thing for you to look at. You could schedule some routine health maintenance type stuff before it gets to a place where you have to do something about it, right? And this is just something for you to keep, again, top of mind. The meditation that I'm offering for you guys is to do some breath work. Science of the Breath is a great book, but I'm also recommending Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I personally prefer the audiobook because he has meditations in it. If you're going to do some box breathing is a real simple one to bring you back into your body, into your solar plexus. And you inhale